starting the recording then.
Oh no, it's just
If there's anybody who isn't here and who wants to be here, go ahead and text right now if you're not here, so that I know not to start without you.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and start. Here we go. Wait, where's the volume? I need to turn off that volume. Music.
No, not adds to it.
All right, Didache quiz number 1. And the first question is a double pointer. How many ways of life are there? Well, is there 1, 2, 3, or 4? And this is a hard one. Oh, that music's bad. What? I am shocked right now. What? Aramis?
What?
It says, how many? Oh, it was a trick question. Wait a second. It was a trick question. It was a trick question. Guys, he asked how many ways of life there were. That was tricky. Even I was tricked, guys. I was tricked too. There are 2 ways, but there's only 1 way of life. All right, Aramis, I thought this was going to be just a really simple, easy quiz here, and right out of the gate, you're doing trick questions. Wow. Well, whoever of you pressed number 1, congratulations, you were paying attention. Whoever said 3, I can't help you. All right, let's see the leaderboard. Raheem, Dante, Mikey, and the last. Well, those were the 3, Raheem and Dante and Mikey, who were reading very carefully. Good job, guys. All right, next question. You guys, great start, because you got double points. Okay, true or false? You are held accountable for giving to someone who said they were in need, but really weren't. Is that true or false? You are held accountable for giving to someone who said they were in need, but they really weren't. That is false. You are not held accountable. And the Didache is very clear about that. Your only job is to give to the one who says they're in need, and if they were secretly tricking you, that's not your fault. You still get the reward. You did what you were supposed to do. All right. Congratulations, Jordan. You are on the leaderboard. Good job, Raheem and Dante and Mikey, and whoever this is. Oh, it's Isaiah, of course. Isaias. All right, guys, next question. Double points. According to the Didache, being foul-mouthed leads to what? Murder, strife, schism, or adultery? According to the Didache, being foul-mouthed leads to which of these 4 things?
I'm so sad. I clicked 1 and I immediately realized I was wrong. Oh no.
You clicked strife.
Was that even in the audiobook? Because I just listened to the audiobook. I don't remember it saying foul mouth. It said obscene.
Obscene is the same thing. Obscene just means filthy.
I'm so sad. All right.
Yeah, because after I realized, I was like, oh, no, it's not strife.
Well, when you guys hear people always having sexual things on their lips, that's what you always hear coming out of their mouth. That's what they're thinking about. How can you not be saying things like that and not also be thinking about it or doing it? Like Jesus says, out of the mouth flows what's in the heart. So it makes sense. Dante has gone up to the top. Next question. According to the Didache, being a grumbler leads to what? Filthiness, blasphemy, idolatry, or murder? Being a grumbler leads to which of these 4 things? Grumbling just means complaining or, murmuring all the time. And it is blasphemy. Most of you got it. Good job, guys. No shake-ups. Everybody's keeping their place. Next question. According to the Didache, being an astrologer leads to what? Adultery, pride, avarice, or idolatry? Avarice just means greediness. And it is idolatry. Of course, that makes sense because astrology is demonic and involved in a false kind of worship of God. Isaiah's coming back up. But Mikey, nice job. You're on the top 5. Very impressive. Next question. According to the Didache, being a liar leads to what? Death, schism, theft, or anarchy? What does lying lead to?
I think I picked wrong.
I think I screwed up. Yep.
Lying leads to theft.
Oh no, I picked right. Oh man,
Good job, Mikey.
I just guessed myself. That's all.
Because theft is an inherently dishonest kind of sin. It's like the action version, the more developed version of lying is stealing. 2 forms of dishonesty. All right, next question, everybody. Double points for this one. Who should you associate with? Should you associate with the lofty, the haughty, the humble, or none of these? Adam says, I don't work well under pressure. Well, that's what the cahoots are.
Me neither. I feel you, Adam.
Just take your time, Adam. It's not always a race. Taking your time actually yields good results. Everybody got it right, see?
I realize that all of these, none of these questions get people a lot.
Yeah, all of these are none of these. Well, no, one time you got them really good, Aramis. You did get them really well that one time. Oh, yeah, it was the Abraham. Which of these is a sign of the cross? And you said Abraham's tent.
Pitching a tent.
A bunch of people clicked all of these? Yeah, but the Bible never says pitching a tent is a sign of the cross. All right. Dante, you're quite a bit ahead, but there's still time for you to go back down. Okay, next question. True or false? God is not aware of all the things that happen to you. Is that true or false? Of course it's false, guys. But you all got it. Right on. Next question. Quiz time. Moreover, you shall seek out the something, the presence of the saints, so that you may find support in their words. Is that monthly, yearly, weekly, or daily that you shall seek out the presence of the saints? How often do you seek out the faces of the saints? Monthly, yearly, weekly, or daily?
I only talk to you people once a year.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Come on. It's becoming a problem. And of course it is daily. Lots of church fathers say that the early Christians used to meet up every single day. Wouldn't that be wonderful if there were churches that were like that? I'd be doing it. You know, sometimes they just get together before work, like early in the morning. And then in the evening, they say mornings and evenings, they always got together.
Let's thank God for internet. It allows us to almost.
That is, if there's one thing that I can give some Protestant churches, it's that even though it's not every day, they do meet more often than Sundays. Some of them do, not all of them, but they're
For
at
football
least.
night.
No, I don't believe it's always on like a specific occasion. But yeah.
I found it strange that you could go into a Protestant church and there's no family dynamic. You don't know the person sitting next to you. It's just you're just there.
Certain denominations, like I know Mennonites have this, but they believe if a congregation gets too large, they should automatically start building another church building, another house, and then try to plant another church because they don't want churches to get so large that it becomes unmanageable for the leadership, and they also want all the people in the church to be very close to each other. And I wonder if there was anything like that, where if the bishop saw a congregation was getting too large or unmanageable, he would a, assign some other presbyters to another group. I don't know. I've never read that in the early church, but I've always found that interesting.
Well, I know that Peter says that you shouldn't have a group that's too large that could draw attention. So maybe that principle
Mm-hmm.
would apply.
Peter does say that when you're actually traveling to the place where you're all going to gather. He says, try not to make yourselves
And
conspicuous.
when Archelaus and Mainz, when they gathered a huge group of people, the Romans.
Ooh, it caused a problem. Yeah.
So it probably wouldn't be wise to have small groups.
Okay, next question. Here we go, guys. Everybody ready? True or false? Double points. It is acceptable to honor a fallible man as though he were the Lord. Is that true or false? Take your time. You don't want to answer wrongly about this.
Yeah, I might have been too quick. Now that I think about it. Yeah.
Of course it is, guys. Children, wives, servants, they're all told to obey the fathers and husbands and masters as if they were the Lord. They say, do your work as unto the Lord, whoever your boss is. So you can honor someone, you can honor the king as if he were Lord over you, meaning even the Lord, God. And even though he's fallible, even though he's not a righteous person, still your service toward him and your respect reflects how you actually serve and respect God.
Testing. Oh, microphone still isn't working.
Microphone's not working, you have to click some more buttons.
But just tell them that the reason why God gives us fleshly relationships is that we can prepare a relationship with Him in the first place.
Exactly. Since God isn't down here on the earth walking and talking to you, the only way you can show your respect to God is by respecting an earthly authority. And actually, you show your loyalty and your servant heart even more if you're doing it to a fallible and imperfect man than if he were perfect, because then you get tested. And to be tested and to still obey and submit, even when you feel like a person is unfair, shows how much you love God. It's not just showing how much you love that person, but rather it shows how loyal you are to God, that you would obey even a person who is imperfect. But of course, you shouldn't obey them if they tell you to sin. That's the only time that you would not obey. No questions? Okay, next question. Next quiz question. Double points for this one. When you reprove, you should show partiality to whom? The elderly, the poor, the widows, or no one? So when you reprove, that just means when you correct or maybe when you rebuke, you should show partiality to who? The elderly, the poor, the widows, or no one? And of course it is no one. We never show partiality. And the leaders in the church must never show favoritism. That's what partiality is. They should do it equally to all people. And most of you got it. Right on. Next question. True or false? Double points. Christians are prohibited from all judging. Is that true or false? And of course, this is based on statements in the Didache. Well, everybody got that one. I probably don't need to explain why we all...
I thought that would get a lot of people.
No. There are definitely times where Christians must judge, but we judge with righteous judgment. All right, next question, everybody. According to the Didache, what can happen if you give orders to a servant when you are angry? Will you, or can you, cause them to retaliate with violence, or cause them to gossip about you, or cause them to fall away from the faith, or none of these things? This is according to the Didache, of course. That's the answer we're looking for.
We'll see if I got it right, but if I got it wrong, I got choice words for Aramis.
I mean, I remember reading this part.
All right. So I thought I didn't remember the Didache mentioning this. So I thought, I was like, there's no way Aramis put a question in that the Didache didn't address.
It does. It talks about it. It specifically says, yeah, don't be giving orders, don't be giving commands to your servants when you're angry at them, because you can exasperate them.
Well, I read it recently, and I didn't say they might stop fearing God.
Exactly.
Didn't say it.
That's pretty much the same
away.
thing as fall away from the faith. Well, if somebody just stops fearing God, they have fallen away from the faith.
Yeah, I thought I remembered it from like Barnabas, or I think Barnabas mentioned it. It was something I read recently, which is why I answered.
Barnabas, almost word for word.
Mm-hmm. It is true. Lots of statements are shared between the two. There are two ways, and the parts about almsgiving and let the alms sweat in your hands until you find someone worthy to give.
Good paymaster.
Yes, many repeated statements between the two. But I don't remember if that one is repeated.
Gotcha.
Good job. Most of you guys got it. Dante has kept the lead. And by...
To get a question from Dante. No,
Yeah.
it's all right.
It's time to get one wrong, Dante.
We're back to our usual setup here. Dante at the lead.
All right, next question. The Didache recommends baptizing someone in what type of water? Running water, still water, spring water, or water at the top of a mountain? What kind of water does it recommend for baptism? And of course it is running water. Because running water, when it moves, it almost seems to be alive. And it symbolizes the presence of the Holy Spirit in the work, the work of the baptism. Because God is the one who does the cleansing. And of course, we know that the baptism still counts, even if it's not running. That's why they even say, well, do you have a question about this part, Aramis? Can I say? But they even say you can pour the water if there is no body of water to be immersed in. But it's just, we do these things because, well, they have a symbolic value. So that's what we would choose. We would choose running water. But it's all right if it's not available.
So, I'm sure Isaiah was about to say something because he unmuted. Does spring water not count as running water? Like, I feel like they're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah, if spring water is moving, if it's running water, then yeah, they would call that living water.
Right. So that there were two right answers to that question.
Yeah, I feel that question was unfair because it did not mention running water. I can see how running water looks as if it's alive, but I don't feel like that was a fair question, to be honest.
So the Didache says running or living water, so it doesn't say spring water.
It doesn't
No,
say running.
It does.
yeah,
It does. It says running water. Living
it
water
says
is the same thing as running water.
yeah. No, but
Well,
I was just saying like spring because I see what why Isaiah clicked that because it doesn't say running water, it says living water, and spring water would be considered living water. So I see why he clicked it, and it isn't necessarily wrong.
I
Well,
know that makes
a,
more
s-
sense.
a spring,
But
though,
to the,
guys. Remember
but to
Jesus. Remember Jesus told the Samaritan woman. She was giving him water from the well. I don't know if a well and a spring are quite the
No,
same.
no, springs are like naturally flowing. It's like a river.
Right. And Jesus says, if you knew who was talking to you, you would ask him and he would give you to drink from living water. And he actually is just using the word running water, but they translate it as living. And I think
The
it's good
audiobook
education.
said living. It did not say running.
Well, now you
to
know
be fair,
living
to
is
the
running.
question, to be fair to the question, it's asking like, because running water encompasses spring water, but spring water excludes any other body of water. So
Mm,
to the
Boom.
question, it would be running water would be the correct answer because it doesn't disregard any other form of running water.
I like you, Mikey.
that's true.
All right, next
All right,
question.
let's get to the next
He's
one.
right. He's right. Next question, guys. Halfway there. True or false? Double points. The Didache recommends that if you're not able to bear all of God's commandments, then you shouldn't follow any of them.
There is a quote from Sirach or a verse from Sirach that goes with this.
And it is false. It actually says, it's one of the more comforting messages in the Didache. It says, if somebody thinks that they can't do all these things, then do what you're able. So it says, if you're slow to take God's full yoke on your shoulders, then do what you can. Now, that's not to say that you don't have to do everything. It's just saying if somebody feels like they can't, so be it. Do what you can. Don't just completely give up and say, "Oh, I can't even be a Christian." If you're going to be slow to follow the whole law, so be it. Hopefully, you will, with time, come to embrace the whole thing.
I was thinking about that today, and I wondered, like, if it meant, you'll be despairing. Oh, I want. Can I really be like the church fathers? Can I really be like them? Can I be as righteous as them? I wonder if it's saying, no, still do what you're able to do. Do your best, and whatever, wherever you fall short, that's your best, right?
Yep, it does say that. Christianity really is a balance of the most comforting, encouraging, uplifting messages with messages that are scary and hard, and some of them, well, they make you feel bad about yourself. But it is a perfect balance of both of them, and I think the truth is, if you accept the hard things, then all that's left is just to rejoice. If you decide to follow everything God has commanded, and you are doing the things God has commanded, then you know there's no longer any more condemnation for you, and there's only hope of eternal life. So the good definitely outweighs any painful or difficult thing God might ask you to do. Yes, it would only be an immature person that said, "I just can't do it all." Yeah, give him some time. All right, next question. The Didache recommends baptizing someone. Aramis? Oh, never mind. It's the same question. Warm water, room temperature water, hot water, or cold water? Sorry, Aramis. I shouldn't have assumed you would repeat. But yeah, it does say cold water. It does recommend that. But I'm not sure I have the reason why. Why do you think why it says that, Aramis?
Well, I think Nolan was talking about that. It's because it makes you feel more awake, makes you feel more alive.
It does wake you up a lot more. Warm water relaxes you, kind of puts you to sleep, wants you to relax. Yeah, the cold water would make
That's why
sense.
people splash cold water on their face, not warm water when they want to
Hmm.
wake up.
I think Nolan
Do
might
you,
have it.
do you think it's a reminder of the cold world, we live in?
No, I think it's closer to what Nolan is saying. That if you're stepping into the water for a rebirth, you want something that kind of wakes you up, almost as if you were coming alive. All right, next question. Who should fast when someone is being baptized? The person being baptized? The person doing the baptizing? Any others who are able? Or all of these? Who should fast when someone is being baptized? And of course it is all of these. And we've tried to follow this. Alrighty, next question. What days do Christians fast? Do we fast on Monday and Thursday, Saturday and Sunday, Wednesday and Friday, or Easter and Christmas? Well, Aramis, you're going to have to go a little harder than that. That was too easy. Wednesday and Friday. Double points for this next question. What prayer does the Didache recommend? Daniel's Prayer, the Lamentation of Jeremiah, Psalm 51, or the Lord's Prayer? What prayer? All right, Aramis, come on. Come on, you got to up your game here. Everybody's saying this is too easy. All right, next question. True or false? Double points. Christians pray that this world may never pass away. Is that true or false? Just click it. Of course, that is false. We instead pray, Lord, come, Maranatha. Okay, next question. We're getting to the final.
Dante, you gotta give us a chance, Dante.
It's really Aramis doing this. He got lazy with the last questions.
Is that Kevon beneath me?
What'd you say?
Is that you? Like with the crazy names?
Yeah.
Or is that you?
You're doing great,
Yes.
Kevon. All right, next question. According to the Didache, when an apostle leaves, what is he allowed to take with him? His clothing, a map, bread, or fruits? You guys remember this? And it is bread. That's what he's allowed to take with him.
I think you tricked these poor people, those two poor people, Luke, by saying his clothing as opposed to just clothing.
I was thinking the same thing.
You said his clothing.
Yeah, that got me. That messed me up.
Well, you should not
I
listen
need
to
a
me.
correct answer. yeah.
Listen, if Aramis is going to make these so easy, I got to make them a little harder.
Yeah, by saying
All right, next question. Ooh, Isaiah, he wants it. But you've only got 9 left, Isaiah. Can you pull it off? We'll see. Kevon's right there with you, neck and neck. All right, next question. True or false? A prophet can ask for money to help him on his journey. Is that true or false? This is an important teaching, helps you identify certain things. Like who's a real prophet and who's a false prophet. But prophets are not allowed to ask for money to help them on their journey. If they do that, they are automatically a false prophet. All right. Next question. True or false? If you have a conflict with someone, it's more important to partake of the Eucharist first and later to resolve it. Is that true? And of course, that's false, guys. We always resolve our conflicts before we partake of the Eucharist. That's what Jesus meant when he said, if you find out that your brother has anything against you, leave your offering at the altar first and go be reconciled with your brother and then offer whatever you were going to offer to God. That just means if you're about to offer the Eucharist, you don't go to that with a bad conscience. Because at the Eucharist we ask for forgiveness of sins, and if you know you have some unresolved conflict or a sin that you committed, go apologize, make it right. Then your sacrifice will be pure. Next question. True or false? Everyone will not be resurrected at the same time. This is talking about the glorification of our bodies. Is that true or false? Everyone will not be resurrected at the same time. And it is true. There are two resurrections. That's why in Revelation, when it talks about the first resurrection, it says, this is the first resurrection. Because there are two. There's the one when Jesus returns, and then 1,000 years later, there is another resurrection. That's the judgment of the whole world. And that one is not just for glorification. There are a lot of people, probably the majority, being resurrected for eternal condemnation. Two resurrections. Ooh, whoa, what happened here? This is a very close match tonight. Okay, guys, 6 more. Here we go. Next question. True or false? Double points. The Antichrist will perform the same deceptions that have always happened. Nothing new under the sun. Is that true or false?
Yeah. As soon as I clicked on it and I thought about it, and I was like, wait, I think I misunderstood.
Paul says in 2 Thessalonians that he is going to have the power to perform all miracles and signs and wonders. And Peter clarifies in Recognitions of Clement that when he's saying he's going to have the power, he's going to have all the powers of deception, he's going to be unlike anybody in all of history. He will have the power to even do signs that the apostles could do. He's not going to be like the magicians who are doing stupid miracles with Moses, and he's not going to be like Simon Magus, who did useless feats of wonder. But the Antichrist will be something else. He really will seem like the Christ.
Luke, this also makes me... I'm sorry, you want... Okay. This makes me think of this current Christianity that people talk about where, like, everyone's about miracles, signs, and wonders.
Yes.
But, like, if that's really the case, what makes the Antichrist so special if somehow that's, like, the norm today?
Brian, they are primed and ready for that deception. The whole world is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It just came to mind because it doesn't really make much sense.
Well, the Catholics and Orthodox love to tout their miracles. and I think a lot of them are fake, but even if they were real, they're at least instilling in the mind that you ought to be looking for miracles and just join whoever can do the most miracles. Like make a statue cry. Whoa, I found the real religion. Did you guys know that the Greeks claimed to have those exact same miracles happening? The Greeks claimed that their statues cried. I just posted one on the Veiling website the other day. So I guess we should all be Greeks, guys. Did you know the Greek pantheon is real? Because they've got miracles. They've got the statues moving around and doing stuff. All right, I digress. Next question. Double points. What is the order of events at the end time? Resurrection, trumpet sound, an opening in heaven, or an opening in heaven, trumpet sound and resurrection, or an opening in heaven, resurrection, trumpet sound, or trumpet sound, opening in heaven, and then the resurrection.
This is so confusing. So
Are you talking about, is this, I don't remember it being worded like that.
yeah, just
You just mean when the heavens are rolled up like a scroll?
You want me to read it out for you?
Yeah, go ahead and read that out for us.
You want me to show you my receipts?
Give us the receipt. I mean, I could probably just look it up right
Yeah,
here.
but look, this is the Didache, so it has to see what the Didache says.
All right, he says, first, the sign of an outspreading in heaven, then the sign of the sound of the trumpet, and the third, the resurrection of the dead. It's right here, guys.
And then there will appear the sign of the truth. First, the sign of an opening in heaven.
Here it is, guys. This is in the last chapter, 16. First, the sign of an outspreading in heaven, then the sign of the sound of the trumpet, and the third, the resurrection of the dead. Wow, that'll be a serious sign. Who could ever miss that? But Peter says that'll happen. He says that the heavens will be rolled up like a scroll. That will be a serious sign. I don't think anybody's going to miss that. Okay. Wow. Jordy, you're coming back up.
Oh, Dante.
Dethrone Dante, will you? No, Dante, I'm proud. I'm impressed, and I think it's too late for anybody to dethrone you. Next question. True or false? Double points. If a prophet does anything strange, he's a false prophet. Is that false or is it true? Of course it's false. You guys can't judge a prophet like that. You can't judge a prophet like that. Prophets do weird stuff all the time. You should look up the Old Testament and see how many times prophets do some strange things, like going around naked for 3 years or 5 years.
Luke, I was just thinking of that. When the scripture says that Isaiah went around naked, not you, Isaiah, in the server, of course. You can't even hear me. Never mind. Okay. But yeah, when it says that he went around naked for 3 years, does that mean that he like literally went around naked, or like he was just like exposed, like his thigh, like you know how Isaiah,
Yes,
somewhere
I know
in
what you're
Isaiah,
saying. Yeah,
God talks about like uncovering them so their thighs are seen, like in that nakedness. Like was Isaiah naked in that sense, where like his like bare legs were showing, like he was nearly naked, but like his genitals weren't showing?
Well, on the one hand, Brian, I could say, oh, it's talking about the kind of nakedness that Jesus and James are speaking of, where you are required to clothe your naked brothers and sisters. And this could just be referring to the fact that their clothing is very tattered and old, and they really could use another pair of clothes, right? But on the other hand, knowing that clothes get really worn down, and that clothing was not always as durable as what we have, you should also remember one other fact, and it's that a lot of people in ancient times only had one or two tunics. It was very rare for somebody to have like 7 shirts and 7 pairs of pants like we do. That was shocking if you had tons of changes of clothes. So if your clothing is falling apart, your tunic, it's time to make a new tunic or buy one. And I think there were cases where once somebody's clothing is just in tatters, it falls apart. You really can't even keep it on you anymore. It just completely falls apart. And they could be actually naked. So I'm not sure which one applies to Isaiah. I tend to think it was really extreme since he's doing it as a sign. I tend to think he went completely naked, because that's the point.
Just being very radical, huh?
Where's he wearing like just like a regular loincloth as regular clothing? So it's like, how much could he take off? You know?
Well, I mean, it's having others eat the dung and having others take a prostitute for a wife. Why wouldn't you be completely naked? Sounds like it's...
I agree.
All right, next question. Since Nolan approves, we're going to keep going. True or false? Someone who receives alms without need will burn forever. Yeah, it doesn't really say that. This is kind of a weird question you just brought out of nowhere.
No, it says that they won't get out there until they pay every last cent. So clearly it's not forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't it. But something in me was just like, oh no, dog.
It's tricky.
I knew it was so harsh. I knew it was so harsh. It wouldn't have been, but yet I still.
I mean, it's a sin. It's a very serious sin, but it doesn't really say that. Okay, guys, 2 more.
Oh, hold on.
Ooh. You tried, Jordan.
Oh, Isaiah's gunning for it.
Isaiah, you can do this. Come on. You've got this. Is this another double pointer? Let's see.
I don't think Dante's got a single question wrong.
Double points. Let your gift something in your hands until you know to whom you should give it. Should it burn in your hand, freeze in your hand, sweat in your hand, or enlarge in your hand? Which of these things should you let your gift do until you know who you should give it to?
Did Linda's power just go out? It's the first time there's a total blackout over there.
I got one wrong, Kevon. It was the trumpet one.
Oh, you did? Oh, never mind.
And of course it is sweat in your hand. That just means you keep your hand closed over it. You do not give it out to an unworthy person. And the fathers over and over stress what an unworthy person would be, just like Paul says. If a person doesn't work, he is not to eat. So that means if they have the ability to work and they just aren't working, that's not a person you should give alms to. But if there's somebody who's paralyzed or sick, or if they're just a widow having to stay home with little children, orphan children, then that person you ought to give to. That is a good cause. And the last question, everybody. Abstain from something cravings. Would that be spiritual cravings, righteous cravings, late night cravings, or fleshly cravings?
I need the reference for this once we're done.
Yeah, I remembered I was considering adding it to our quotes about continence, but it does say abstain from fleshly cravings. All right, let's see how it stacks up, everybody. This man got 3rd place.
I think that's cool, dude.
We're over 3rd place.
Isaiah, nice job. I like seeing you 3 always on the leaderboard. But Dante did it. And Raheem and my wife were right behind him. Good job, Raheem. Very impressive, guys.
I think I'm cursed. This is ridiculous.
Don't say things like that. If Dante can do it, you can.
Right, my destiny is to always get 3rd place or higher.
Turn.
You guys did really well.
Hey, Dante works for it.
Yeah, I usually listen to the Didache a couple times because I didn't even study for this one, but because I listened to it so many times, I kind of just remembered a lot of it.
That was a good one. All right, guys. Well, this was quick. We knocked it out. Only 45 minutes and we're done.
It's our fastest one in a while.
It was very good seeing all of you. I thought about us reacting to a video that we found earlier today.
I think we should.
I wonder if we should make that a separate recording, though.
What's the video?
But you like stop it and then
All right,
starting.
I'm stopping the recording.
Okay, tell me, the next one is Monday, 8 o'clock, Martyrdom of Polycarp
Martyrdom of Polycarp is the next quiz
on Monday.
on Monday.